You can say this is the Chinese Chernobyl, minus the radiation. Because this ghost city gives out the same vibes. Have you guys ever heard of ghost cities in China? They're pretty much a bunch of unfinished, abandoned apartment buildings. Right now we're in front of the notorious Zhuliao New City in Guangzhou. Those buildings have been abandoned for more than 30 years. We're gonna get closer to take a look at everything. Some people, they think that those ghost cities are so large that it covers the entire city. But in most cases, those ghost cities are just a small, tiny part of the city. It's like a collective community complex. So here there are around 5,000 apartments inside, but they've been abandoned. Nobody actually lived inside. The majority of the apartments, they actually never got to finish. So they started building those apartments in 1992. They're even older than me. I'm only 33-year-old and they're 34. As we keep going, I will explain some more stories regarding this area. So in China, we have a very special system called Hukou, Hukou, which literally means household registration. It's a system that has been going on for 50 years, more than 50 years probably. So this system can actually tell where you're from. So your identity is tied to a specific city. So no matter where you go to, the government can always know where you're from originally, so they can track you down. So why do they want to track you down? That's a very good question. So in the 70s, because China still had the rationing economy, there was a limited amount of resources. People couldn't just buy products with money. They needed to get special tickets for everyday necessities like rice, oil, and everything. So this Hukou, or household registration system, can actually pinpoint who is from where. And only if you're from that specific city, you will be able to access those benefits and those tickets. Back in the days, you couldn't really move freely to another city because you won't be able to survive there, since you won't be able to get like all the resources that one needed to survive. So that's a very special system during a special time. It's always very easy to say that, people should be able to move freely. But if everyone wanted to move to the city back then, it would be impossible because the capacity of a city was limited. If only 10 million people could live in the city, but there are 50 million people they wanted to move to the city, how would that work? From today's perspective, it's very hard to imagine that, but if you put yourself in the shoes of the government at that time, you had to limit the people's movements. Otherwise, the economy would crash. If I ask you whether you want to live in the city or in a farm, probably you will say, oh, I like countryside life. I don't mind being a farmer in the countryside. Well, you're saying that because now you have a choice. Back in the days, 50 years ago, a lot of farmers, they didn't know what city life was like. So if they didn't get controlled, a lot of them would just move to the cities. And it would be impossible to ration the resources. I'm not trying to defend any system. I'm just saying that was a fact. That's a thing that the government needed to deal with. And there's no easy way to fix that issue. I'm actually surprised those apartment buildings could still stay intact despite the fact that nobody actually tried to maintain them. You can see trees are growing out of the balconies. It gives me dystopian vibes. So probably you're wondering, if people were not allowed to move freely, what's the point of building those apartments? That's a very good question. In 1992, the central government launched a new policy. They were saying that people who purchased an apartment in Guangzhou, they were allowed to claim a temporary household registration. And in 5 years, they will be able to convert that into a permanent one. This is the reason why the real estate company, they decided to build this community complex. Their original goal was to sell those apartments to temporary workers in China, temporary workers in Guangzhou, or people who are doing business in Guangzhou. They have money, and then they wanted to stay in Guangzhou permanently. So if you buy an apartment here, in 5 years, you will become a new Guangzhou local, and you will be able to claim all the benefits that outsiders couldn't have. But unfortunately, before they finished building those apartments, the government changed the policy. They nullified this new temporary registration, and all of a sudden, there's no point to buy those apartments anymore because you won't be able to get a registration in Guangzhou. So that's the reason why those buildings were never finished. That's the number one reason. Another reason why they couldn't finish those apartments, it's because the ownership of the land is questionable. So in China, if you want to build commercial apartments for sale, you will have to build on a piece of state-owned land. But for this piece of land, they belong to a group of people. They are a collective-owned land. So even if those buildings are finished, by law, you're not allowed to sell them. So this is the second important reason why they couldn't finish. Now you can find graffitis on the sides of the buildings. Alien Lu, Tanko, something, something. I'm not sure if there's still homeless people living inside, but during COVID, the government actually cleared all the buildings. So technically, nobody should be living inside, but unfortunately, we're not able to go inside. But I will show you what's inside by extending my camera. Are you able to see anything inside? I can't really see much. Anyone living inside? Probably you're wondering, what are they gonna do with those buildings? Why don't they just renovate everything and have people live inside? It's very easy to come up with a solution like that, but at the same time, who will pay for it? It's not just like one building, it's like a bunch of buildings here, and they're so old. If you want to renovate everything, probably it's more expensive than building from scratch. Nobody owns those buildings anymore. Nobody's living inside. I do agree it's a waste of land and it's a waste of resources, but there's no good solution. Inside, they have some security guards watching out for this place. I tried to enter before, but they said no, like nobody can enter. If you look at the stairs over there, they look very dangerous. It's actually a very good idea to prevent people from entering because you can easily get hurt. Oh, hello, doggy. There's a dog here. Yeah, they don't really allow you to enter anymore for your safety. There's no way that you can buy it and fix it. It costs a lot of money, like billions. It's not like that easy. In this area, people used to learn how to drive. It used to be a driving school. Plants growing out of the balcony. This is so cool. Some people might think that it looks like Chernobyl. I've personally visited Chernobyl myself. This place actually gives very similar vibes to Chernobyl. Let's go to the other side. Can you see anything inside? People living inside? Evidence of people living inside? Yes, no? I'm not really sure. I can't really see it myself. So this household registration system that I was talking about still exists in China till this very day. But it doesn't restrict people from moving freely across the country. If I have a kid, but I'm not from this city, I won't be able to send my kid to a public school here. Because although some other resources are no longer limited, education is still limited. If all the temporary residents, they want to send their kids to schools in Guangzhou, the Guangzhou public schools will have too many students. So yes, this rationing economy still works to a certain extent, but it is not the same way as it was before. Oh God, it looks very, very dystopian. I really want to go inside and show you guys more stuff. Let's see whether I can enter, I can sneak in. I remember there is a back door over there. Last time I didn't get to enter because there were too many rocks over there. Let's see whether it's easier to do it this time. For different ghost cities in China, the stories might be slightly different. For some ghost cities, they couldn't sell the apartments to others because it's too far away from the city center. But for this specific area, it's because of the policy change and the wrong ownership of the land. It is a pity, I do agree. But at the same time, after 34 years, there's nothing you can do. The funny thing is, this area still has a lot of people living here. The neighbors of this ghost city have a lot of residents, but nobody is allowed to live inside of this place. Back in the days, I heard there are a lot of homeless people living inside, and there is a driving school on the ground level. But I think during COVID, all of them are no longer here anymore. This area is not very city center. It's maybe 25 kilometers away from the center. It's already the suburb. If we keep driving that way, we will be on the way to a different city. It's like the edge of Guangzhou. I don't really know what's gonna happen to this ghost city eventually. Someone has to do something at the end of the day. I think renting this place to a director would be a perfect idea. So they can shoot some cool movies here. It actually makes me feel like Chernobyl. I will probably attach some Chernobyl footages that I took. I think this is the entrance to the back door. It doesn't say it's forbidden to enter, but I don't think it's a good idea to trespass. But I want to show you a different entrance. I will probably also attach a drone footage so you guys can get a better idea of how everything looks like. this area is enormous. It's huge. 5,000 apartments here. Yep, technically I can open that door and enter, but just a lot of grass inside. With Guangzhou's weather, it's impossible to live inside, even if you're homeless. It's just too hot. Without AC, it's impossible to survive in summer. Let me show you. It looks like a jungle. Also some farmers living here. They're just like growing vegetables here. This area has a lot of factory workers too. Wow. This is definitely a jungle. Some of you guys might be wondering, did those buyers get their money back? Fortunately, nobody was able to purchase any apartments here. And then the construction just stopped. So nobody lost any money besides the construction company. I think that this piece of land still belongs to that company, but I doubt that company still exists till this very day. So even if you want to buy this piece of land and renovate everything, I doubt it will be easy to find the original owner. There's no path going that way. We were there earlier. Wow. Now it's just people growing vegetables here. And they're living in this small house. Lovely place. It's just shocking to see those buildings. Can't really see anything myself, but you guys can take a look. Another thing that a lot of people would ask would be, in China, do you guys have homeless? Yes, you can find them, but because of the household registration system, it's very easy to find where you're from originally. If they find that you're homeless in a different city, in most cases, the local authority, they will just send you back to where you're from originally to let your family take care of you. Because in Asian culture, families, they look after one another. So we don't really let our family members remain homeless unless this person really wants to do that. Someone might be living inside. Let me show you one more time. What do you see? Nobody? Those apartments are abandoned here, but this area is not abandoned at all. Here you have a MRT line, so people can take metros here. You can still come here very easily. Just unfortunately, this piece of land is no longer in use. This side of the street and that side of the street, they look like two different worlds. Over there, they have some tall buildings as well. Just in case you're wondering, for the locals here, where do they buy groceries and eat? So not far away from the ghost city, we have normal neighborhoods. You know, people are actually living here. The apartments are nice, modern, and you can learn how to dance and do taekwondo here. And on that main street, there are a lot of restaurants and shops. So like I said earlier, ghost cities, they're not really abandoned in terms of the entire location has no infrastructure. You can still see people living in the same area. Just that area is abandoned. So we keep going. Car shop. Engine factory. Like I said earlier, there are a lot of factories here. People, they live a normal life here. They just happen to have a very weird neighbor on that side. You know, nobody's living there. And over there you have a mixue. Have you guys tried mixue in America or Mexico? They're fantastic. Very cheap drinks. Also very popular in Southeast Asia. Over there they have a supermarket. This is a hotel. Restaurants. More grocery stores. So this area is no different from other areas in Guangzhou. You know, it's not really abandoned. It just, unfortunately, those buildings, they never got to finish. Pharmacy, Luckin Coffee. We had some rice rolls earlier and we only paid $1. Very cheap to live in this area. So guys, as you can see, the ghost cities in China are not as scary as you probably have thought. And it's definitely not the same as what some media were trying to say. It looks scary from the appearance, but at the same time, there are a lot of people living in this area too. Over there, they have a lot of cars too, and there are some tall buildings over there. So the point of this video is not to show you the bad parts of China. I'm actually trying to debunk some misinformation online. And I hope that in the future, we will be able to make more videos like this. So if you enjoy this video, make sure that you click on the subscribe button below this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.